Hey Rogue Nation, what's up? My name's Thom Hunter. I'm the manager of Rogue Running Downtown. Today we're going to talk a little bit about recovery. Alright, so today we're going to talk about why do you need to use recovery tools. Those of you who are doing it, you might just be doing it because your coach tells you to do it. Really what you're doing, you're breaking down some scar tissue, you might be releasing some knots, you're allowing more blood flow into the muscles. This helps with your recovery, so maybe you'll feel better after a hard workout a day or two later. It also is good to do it before you run. This can get you a little bit loosened up, get a little bit of more range of motion in there, and you're just gonna feel all around better. So let's get into some of the different tools that we have here at Rogue Running. All right, so first we're gonna talk a little bit about foam rolling. This is one that tons of you probably use this. In fact, I would probably think most of you use a foam roller over any other roll technique. Foam rollers, when they first started out, was just a piece of foam, very different sizes, it always varied. Today there's some products from Trigger Point that are really nice out there. You have a hard piece of plastic and they have foam on the top. And the foam on the top has ridges, so you can really get in there and work on knots. If you're someone who's new to foam rolling, I definitely recommend going with a foam roller that has a softer foam on top. As you progress in foam rolling, if you feel like you need more, Trigger Point also makes foam rollers that have a harder rubber on top. So at the end of the video, if you'd like to tune in, we're going to show you how to foam roll your calves, your quads, and your IT band. Those tend to be trouble spots for most runners. All right, next we're going to talk about foam rolling sticks. Foam rolling sticks, this was the first thing that was ever created for really doing any recovery. For those of you who've been around since the 80s, you might remember the product called the stick. It was basically a long stick with little round disc on it. It was very pliable, and we used to see everyone getting up to the line and using it to loosen up muscles. Today there's a ton of different products out there. Trigger Point makes good ones, Add-A-Day makes good ones. You see now they're ridged, so if you really find a spot that's hard to, that there's a knot, you can really kind of dig in. You can even, with Trigger Point, use the handle, if you need to get into like a hip flexor. Sometimes the roller, it's hard to hit, with a foam roller, it's hard to hit really small spots, where a stick, you can really get in there sometimes and really loosen stuff up that's not as easy to roll on. All right, next we're gonna talk about the R8 recovery tool. This always gets a lot of people's eyes. It looks like some kind of like torture device, but really what this is great for, I love this doing. You can do IT band with this, you can do calves, hamstrings, quads. It kind of just opens up like this, and it comes with a key that you can adjust the different how tight you want it and how big your legs are. We all have different size legs, but this can really get into some places and it does the work for you. So definitely recommend giving one of these a try. Kind of knock on it is you're very limited to big muscle areas versus little muscle areas. All right, next we're going to talk about massage balls. Each of these massage balls from Trigger Point, they have different color striations. What that is different density foams, so you can really target hard to reach places that a foam roller may not be able to get to, especially with the little one. If you really find an area that's tight and you can't release it, try something smaller and really just concentrate on that small area. A lot of times this is really, really great when you're really sore, but again, you don't want to wait till you're sore and already in trouble to have to use these things. If you're using these before you get hurt, it's a lot easier to prevent injury than it is to react and then have to get something out. All right. Next we're going to talk about what's been the big craze the last couple years, massage guns. At Rogue we really have two different kinds of brands. We have the Hypervolt and we have Theragun. Hypervolt, pros to it, much quieter. Cons, you only get 5 head attachments, and this penetrates at an 11 millimeter stroke. Theragun, it's pretty loud, but it's gotten quieter in the latest editions. This is probably the most efficacious on the market. It hits at a 16 millimeter percussion rate. Some people will say Hypervolt's nicer for, just getting stuff closer to the surface out, where people who use Theragun can really feel it penetrating deep within the muscle. One cool thing is there's a ton of different options for both. You have the Hypervolt, which comes in at $350. There's a Hypervolt Plus, which is $400, and then you have the Hypervolt Go, which is $200. With Theragun, you have the Theragun Pro coming in at 600. The Elite, which just doesn't have the Elite doesn't have this rotating head, but hits at the same rate, you get the same amount of attachments, that comes in at 400. Then you have the Prime from Theragun coming in at 300, and the Mini that comes in at 200, which is probably the best bang for your buck. All right, next we're gonna move over here and we're gonna do a little foam rolling demonstration for you. All right guys, we're gonna do a quick demo of how to foam roll 3 problem areas for runners. First, we're gonna do the calves and the soleus. A lot of times the soleus is really tight. This can lead to plantar fasciitis as well as some Achilles tendonitis. So we're gonna show you how to do this first. So you wanna use your body weight. I like to lift up on my back hands, crisscross my legs, start high, rolling up and down, straight, and then we roll back to the soleus. And I can already tell mine's a little tight because it's a little ouchy. A little ouchy's okay. We really want to only spend about 30 seconds on each area. And so we would do the calves, you do one calf and then the other. If you find a spot that's knotted, we can rotate back and forth to loosen things up. Next we're going to do quads. You can do both at the same time. I always like to do mine just one at a time. Depends on the length of your foam roller. And again, we want to just go up and down first. Nice and easy. After starting for about 20 seconds, if you find a spot that's a little tight, you can do some active release by kicking your back leg up. Again, my quads don't hurt me, but I can tell right now I've ignored them because I've already found a spot. And then you'd repeat this on your other leg. All right, and next we're gonna do IT band. This one looks kind of funky, but this is the most common problem area for runners. So if your lower IT band hurts, sometimes we feel it in the knee. It feels like a hot poker's in your knee. If it's the upper IT band, we kind of feel it in our hip. It's a dull ache. Very common in a lot of runners we see. So you position yourself, leg on sideways, and then you take your off leg, hold it at about a 90-degree angle to your body. And again, up and down for about 30 seconds. And if you find a spot, like I could feel one right here, you can actively release by pumping your leg. Really get in there. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Ready? All right, Rogue Nation, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you learned something. If you'd like to learn more about Rogue Running, you can click the link below. If you're also interested in any of these products and don't live near a Jackrabbit store near you, you can always shop online at jackrabbit.com. We'll see you next time.